Welcome to today's episode where we are diving into some fascinating financial questions. We'll be exploring the ins and outs of conditional gift deeds. Are they valid? Can they be treated as wills? We'll also tackle the tricky situation of reclaiming shares that have gone into Investor Education and Protection Fund. For our younger viewers, we'll look at a 29-year-old's retirement plan and whether their current investments can help them reach their goals. And lastly, we'll unravel the complexities of international inheritance, covering everything from tax liabilities to jewellery transfers and property sales. These questions touch on crucial aspects of financial planning that many of us grapple with, so stick around. Hey there, I'm your host and welcome to Kash Queries with Krutika, where we break down those confusing money matters that keep you up all night. You know, financial planning isn't just for rich and famous. It's for all of us trying to make sense of our money and secure our future. Take today's questions for instance. We have got everything from gift deeds to retirement planning to international inheritance. These aren't just abstract concepts, they are real issues that affect real people. Maybe you are wondering if that gift your grandpa gave you is actually legally binding, or maybe you are just scratching your head over how to get back some shares that seem to have vanished into thin air. Or perhaps you are just like our 29-year-old viewer dreaming of early retirement but not sure if your mutual fund choices are up to the task. And let's not forget about the complexities of dealing with money across borders. If you've got family overseas, you might be wondering about the tax implications of inheriting property or how to bring family heirlooms back home without getting into trouble with customs. These are the questions that pop up in our daily life and we often don't know where to turn for answers. That's where Kash Queries with Krutika comes in. We take your anonymous questions because let's face it, money talks can be awkward and break them down into bite-sized, easy to understand advice. So whether you are just starting out a financial journey or you are looking to fine-tune your strategy, we have got something for everyone. So let's dive in and start making sense of these money matters together. Alright, so let's get this show on the road. I'm joined today by Mithilesh, who will be reading out our questions. Take it away, Mithilesh.
I read somewhere that gift deeds can be conditional, but it will be valid if the transfer of the title is passed on immediately by the donor and accepted by the donee. Otherwise, it will be treated as a will. On 16 June 2006, a conditional gift deed was written and both the donor and donee signed it on the same date, but the donee signed only on the last page of the deed. The registration of the gift deed was not done immediately. It was done on 12 December 2006. The donee was not present before the registrar on the date of registration. Is this registered conditional gift deed legally valid or invalid? If not valid, can it be treated as will?
Yes, a conditional gift deed registered will not be treated as a will. Both the documents have their unique features, so there is no question of treating a conditional gift deed as a will in case the latter fails to be effective. Great, let's move on to the next question.
I have shares in Vinati Organics worth Rs 30 lakh. These shares have gone into the IEPF. I have contacted several persons dealing with the matter. They all want to see the original share certificate despite me providing all information like share number, certificate number, etc. I am afraid of handing over certificates as I feel they would somehow transfer the shares into their names. What are the risks involved in dealing with unknown mediators?
Choose a service provider who is well known. Initially, a photocopy of the certificate has to be provided to the service provider. The original share certificates are required only when 70% of the work is done. You would eventually have to share the original certificates with your service provider as they would have to deposit it with the company. Please note, by the time you reach this stage, your coordinates and address, Aadhaar and PAN card would have been updated in the company's record and there is no chance of the company crediting anything to anyone else except you. Further, once shares are transferred to IEPF, the physical certificates carry no significance and cannot be transferred in physical form to anybody. The certificates have to be submitted to the company for cancellation. Once you are registered as holder of shares in company records, after update of your KYC records, signature, etc., the company would allow you to file the claim with the IEPF authority, and after verification of claim by IEPF, they would credit the shares in your demat account. Thus, you do not need to worry about misuse of physical share certificates by anybody. Even if somebody has possession of your certificates, he cannot get it transferred in his name. Choose an established and renowned service provider who would assist you to claim your shares back from IEPF. To choose a credible consulting organization, please visit their websites, do primary and secondary search about feedback. You may also visit their social media pages to see reviews. Wow, quite a complex one, right? Okay, let's move on to our third question, Mithilesh.
I am 29. I am currently investing every month in the following mutual funds. Rupees 2000 in Parag Parikh FlexiCap, Rupees 1000 in Axis Blue Chip, Rupees 1000 in Canara Robeco Blue Chip, Rupees 1000 in Axis Small Cap, Rupees 1000 in Invesco India Contra, and Rupees 2000 in Axis Growth Opportunities Fund. I want to retire by 45 with a corpus of Rupees 1 crore. Will my fund selection help me achieve my goal?
Two observations. One, unless you have any other source of corpus accumulation, 1 crore is unlikely to be sufficient for retiring at 45 and living out the corpus for the next 30 to 40 years. Kindly do a financial planning exercise to understand how much is needed to retire. 2, 8,000 rupees SIP, even if you assume an optimistic 12% IRR, will fetch under 50 lakh in 16 years. You will need to invest at least 20,000 per month, and even then returns can dwindle if the Indian markets turn more mature in 16 years. Your fund choices are fine. Make sure you have an exposure to debt either through funds or traditional options like PF. Awesome. Now, last question on estate planning. Please read it out, Mithilesh.
My nephew works in the US. His mother, who was working, died last year. He will be visiting India in February to complete nominee related formalities. I assume no tax liability on his inheritances in India. If he wishes to transfer any money to his US bank account, how much is allowed and what will be his tax liability in India? In case he wishes to carry back some family jewellery, can his spouse wear it while visiting India in future without any tax liability? Can he invest in India in mutual funds out of his inheritance money? If he sells a house in India, what happens to the capital gains?
There will be no tax liability in case of inheritance from his mother. Assuming that your nephew is non-resident in India, he can transfer a sum up to $1 million to his US bank account. Further, if your nephew does not have any income in India, he is not required to file a tax return in India. Wife of the individual can carry the jewelry to India without any taxation liability. He could also retain and invest in India in mutual funds out of this inheritance money. If he desires to sell a house in India, there will be a capital gains tax in his hands depending upon the period of holding. Also, if the house is inherited, then the cost to and holding period by the mother shall also be considered for determining the period of holding and acquisition cost. Wow, we have covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? From gift deeds to international inheritance, we have tackled some pretty complex financial topics. But here's the thing. These aren't just abstract concepts. They are real issues that affect our daily lives and our financial futures. Remember, when you are dealing with inheritance or planning for retirement or trying to reclaim lost shares, knowledge is power. The more you understand about these financial matters, the better equipped you will be to make informed decisions. But hey, I get it. This stuff can be complicated and every situation is unique. That's why it is so important to keep asking questions and seeking advice. And that's exactly what we are here for. Got a burning financial question that's keeping you up all night? Don't let it simmer. Send it our way. Drop us an email at our email address. Your question could be featured in our next episode, helping not just you but others who might be in the same boat. Remember, there is no such thing as a dumb question when it comes to money. We are all learning and we are all in this together. So keep those questions coming and let's continue to demystify the world of finance one query at a time. Thank you for tuning in today and see you in my next episode of Kash Queries with Krutika.